Mindset is brought to you by Modern Investigation and Security Company Limited, providing quality, responsive services for over 40 years. Security at its modern best. Today on Mindset, we sit with a young woman whose childhood was interrupted by sexual abuse, an experience that shattered her innocence, fractured her sense of self, and ultimately placed her in state care. She didn't just lose her safety, she lost her home, her normal, her voice. But this is not just a story of trauma, it's a story of reclamation, of finding language for what was unspeakable, of healing a mind that was never meant to carry such weight. This is the mind they touched, a conversation about surviving, remembering, and redefining who you are beyond what was done to you and where the system left you. Our guest tonight is Athoy Neal. Mirror of the Mind is brought to you by the National Health Fund, NHF, taking a healthy interest in you.
It happened when I was 7. He said it was a game, but the game never stopped.
Mine said, don't tell anyone. So I didn't. For 22 years.
I learned to wear mask. The funny guy, the strong friend, but at nights, I'll curled up like that little boy again.
They say time heals, but trauma, it doesn't tick like a clock. It's like a bomb. We were touched, but never asked to be.
But now we speak, because silence keeps the cycle alive.
And we deserve more than survival. We deserve peace.
Let mindset
be the voice that finds you.
So your story is such a touching one. What was life like growing up?
I was adopted at age 5. Before my adoption, life was exciting. Country girl, run up and down, go river, enjoy the finer things, you know? You go out, you enjoy yourself with the cousins and the whatevers, and you go home, sleep, and is a cycle, right? I remember the day like it was yesterday. So my grandmother took us and she was like, oh, we're carrying you to Kingston. You're going to be with a new family, but she didn't tell us the new family part until we were on the bus. Right? Or on the bus from country coming up. And I was like, oh, 5-year-old me, still not processing all of that information until I arrived and I saw my grandmother and 2 of my siblings walking away. And I watched them leave me and I was like, what is happening? That was when I realized that this is goodbye. Like, I'm never going to see them again. So I was traumatized. And I remember crying, shaking down the gate, crying, because I couldn't understand what was happening.
This is home.
Yeah.
At what age did the abuse start?
Most abusers, they don't just jump and do. They don't jump and abuse. They don't jump and do what they're doing. They're gonna groom you. They're gonna give you sweets. They're gonna tell you little secrets, and they're gonna say, oh, don't tell mommy, don't tell daddy, don't. Little things like that. They'll coach you, come sit in my lap, come lotion me, wherever. You know, those little things, those are signs of grooming. And I didn't know that until I became an adult. So the grooming process for me started at age 8. There'd be little touch here and there, little oral play, and then physical sex started at age 12.
Before you were first touched inappropriately, were you taught good touch and bad touch?
No. Back then, it was taboo for persons to teach you about your body parts, much less to tell you about good and bad touch. It is, I'm now seeing it in my generation where we're telling the children what to look out for. I have 2 daughters, but my youngest, she's 3 years old, and she can tell you her body parts, and she will tell me if anybody touched her there. She knows the difference, and I make it my point of duty to make sure that the things that happen to me doesn't happen to my children.
And I'm sure the experience that you've had has shaped you into how you treat your daughter today.
Very much so. We've even built languages. Like my youngest, she speaks 2 different languages, and I'm teaching her sign language. So with the sign language, in crowded space, if she's uncomfortable, she can make a sign to myself or her dad.
Let us go back to 8-year-old Athoy. Being touched inappropriately, wasn't told before about bad touch and good touch. What was going through your mind at that time? Did you think that this was a norm?
I didn't think about if it's the norm or not. I know that there were times that I felt disgusted. He would kiss me and his tongue would be in my mouth wiggling around, and it felt awful. Those are the little things that I can remember. Like my body, there's muscle memory where the whole thing is concerned.
How and when did you break the silence?
Breaking the silence for me was hard because I'm always the person to be. I'm always a happy one. I'm always the one that lights up the room. I never spoke about it until I was 16, and I've attempted suicide on several occasions. I've taken pills, I've cut myself, I've used rope, I've held a firearm to my head. And there are just so many times that I tried to attempt suicide and it just never works. There was always something. I was on my period at the time, and he put a towel on the bed and he just had his way. And I remember going into the bathroom and turning on the shower, and no matter how much I scrub my body, no matter how much water I use, that feeling just never left. I felt very disgusted because here I thought that my period would actually be a reason for him to stop, and it never was. When I was 16, I took some medication. I walked around and took every single pill I could find in that house. And I had 3 notes that I wrote. One to my mentor at the time and 2 others. And they found one and they reached out to my mentor. And she came to my school and she was talking to me. She was asking what's wrong. Then they made up this story that, oh, I was rebellious, and oh, it's because they said that they would take me back to my parents. And it was all sorts of story as to why I was rebelling. But I wasn't rebelling. I was just exhausted. I was just tired. I was tired of being that scapegoat. Because I asked the question once, why me? And the person said it was safer to do it with me than to go out there to other people because I don't have any viruses or anything. And that's when I became sexually mischievous. It's like, okay. And then I started having sex.
You're watching Mindset. We'll be right back.
Mindset is brought to you by At Modern Investigation and Security, protection begins with care and continues with a service that's professional, respectful, and kind. With a leadership that ensures excellence and a team that never stops watching over what matters most. Modern is more than security. We are peace of mind wherever you are. Modern Investigation and Security Company Limited. Security at its modern best.
Bad touch?
Kind of, yes. No. He said no.
What do you think is a bad touch?
When you touch people places that you're not supposed to touch. The part enough for touch is your bum bum.
What would you say to someone if they touch you inappropriately?
First, I would have slapped them in their face. I would say I'm going to tell someone. Don't touch me. Do not do that ever again. I would say stop.
Give yourself a round of applause. Well done. Good answers.
Welcome back to Mindset. We're here with Athoy Neil. Now, sexual abuse started for Athoy at 8 years old and went on for another 8 years. Athoy, you are so strong, so resilient, full of life. You're a light.
Thank you.
You have endured so much. After several attempts at unaliving yourself, as the Gen Zs would say, what keeps you going today?
What I've done, I've put myself into work. I love working. I love marketing. I love people. Every year I do stuff with young persons that would want mentorship or whatever. I speak with them. And outside of that, I have an amazing family.
Awesome.
That I was brought into. I'm engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My in-laws have opened up to me without hesitation. My partner is very supportive.
How is your mental health today? How are you doing?
All right, so
How are you doing?
health. I'm currently doing therapy at Bellevue Hospital. I know a lot of persons have a stigma where Bellevue is concerned. Oh, I not gonna go there, whatever. It's that place where I can go and I can offload whatever it is that I am feeling unfiltered. I can speak to my therapist, right? There are times when I do take medication, but in doses. So if I need to see a psychiatrist, she'll recommend that, hey, let us work through this. I've learned how to ground myself. I have learned that when I'm feeling whatever feeling I am feeling, I try to process it. I was clinically diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I have depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizoid traits, and the list goes on. But with my team of supporters, I've learned how to bring myself in. If I feel like I'm spazzing out, I know who to call based on what I'm feeling.
You have a good support system, which is really, really important.
Yeah.
What emotions lingered with you the most over the years? Shame, anger, fear, or numbness?
All right, so for most of it, it was anger. I was very aggressive. That aggression went away when I had my daughter. So like most of the time I'll punch a wall, I get very physical, like, and usually when I get physical, it's never with females. It's always with the men. Like, yeah, you want to fight? Come, let's go. I was always ready to be at it with men because I see them as aggressive and they tend to target persons that can't help themselves.
How difficult was it getting to this point where you're now engaged to be married? Did you fight hubby before? And say, okay, you're a man. I'm gonna beat you up for being a man. Yeah.
Funny enough, this engagement is a shocker to a lot of persons. He and I used to be lunch buddies back in 2016. I kept praying and I said, God, I need a husband. And I don't just want any husband. I want a man of God. I want somebody that when it comes down to it and Satan decides that he's going to come for me, we're all attacking him back. There are times when I can't talk. Like, I feel overwhelmed and I just cannot say what's really on my heart or my mind. Mm-hmm. And he's able to help me process it. Just like my therapist would walk me through my feelings and my emotions. And
so you have a therapist at home as well, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Athoy, if your mind could leave a voicemail on your past, what would it say? And would you want it to be heard?
So it would say, don't take that shower. Don't wash off. And a lot of persons ask why. So the hardest task that Sissoko gives to any sexual abuse victim is to not have a shower. The same time it happens, whether it be rape, whether it be sexual assault, whatever it is, don't take that shower. That shower that you feel like is gonna make you clean, the moment it happens, you go to Sissoko so they can run that test that they need to do.
What is your advice today to young women that are suffering sexual abuse?
Don't suffer. Don't sit in it. And I know sometimes it can be scary, like you're afraid you might lose your life or something bad might happen to you, but something bad is already happening to you. So the best thing to do is to report it. Don't keep no secret for nobody, because living through something like that, you've already killed yourself. Whatever is happening to you, it's not your fault. But talk to somebody you can trust.
Where is your abuser today and how much time was he given?
Okay, so he is somewhere about the place. He wasn't given any time. The case was thrown out that there wasn't enough evidence. So the person that abused me is still walking free because I, one, didn't report it as it happened or in the same period. So though there was 8 years of it, what I should have done is in one of the instances where he has had his way with me, I should have gone to Sissoko at that time.
Do you still see your abuser?
I do.
How do you feel?
Forgiveness is something that I have always pushed myself to do. Though I am not 100% okay, I have forgiven and I've gotten past it to the point where I'm no longer hurting myself. I'm happy now. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of talking. It took a lot of reflection, you know. There used to be a time when I used to say, what am I doing wrong? What am I wearing wrong? I used to go to my bed in jeans pants. I've come to accept the fact that it's not you. It's deeper than you. It's not what you wear. It's not what you think you have on or whatever. It has nothing to do with that.
If your abuser is watching at this time. I'm sure you have a few words to say to him. Please take this opportunity, because what has happened to you, we certainly do not want a repeat of that. And the fact that he got off this scot-free, it means that the likelihood of this happening again is very high.
Yeah.
Speak to your abuser.
Though I've forgiven, talking is not one of the easiest things. And I can say, you got away with me, you won't get away with somebody else. And what you did has traumatized me, and it's something that I'll always have to live with. And I don't wish that on anybody, not even your own.
Thank you for sharing your story, Athoy. Wishing you all the very, very best. This is Mindset. We take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking to Dr. Marlon Simpson, psychologist. Please stay with us.
Mindset is brought to you by At Modern Investigation and Security, protection begins with care and continues with a service that's professional, respectful, and kind. With a leadership that ensures excellence and a team that never stops watching over what matters most. Modern is more than security. We are peace of mind wherever you are. Modern Investigation and Security Company Limited. Security at its modern best.
At Jatden Medical Services, we believe everyone deserves expert care they can afford. That's why we offer advanced oncology and personalized cancer treatment, safe, high-quality dialysis for kidney care, complete eye care through our trusted ophthalmology team, and fast, reliable results from our Sumo lab. Call us or contact us on our social media platforms. Jatden Medical Services, affordable, world-class healthcare.
Welcome back to Mindset, and thanks for staying with us. Dr. Simpson, the resilience we're hearing tonight is remarkable, as is the enduring struggle. What is your perspective on Atoy's journey?
All right, so Atoy's journey is a remarkable one, where she has been through a whole lot of different situations throughout the years. In her earlier years, we call those adverse childhood experiences. And those adverse childhood experiences, for a lot of persons who later on grow up to be adults, start developing serious mental illnesses of varying kinds, simply because they had been through a lot of negative sexual, physical, or other forms of abuse as well. But as she started to grow older, it almost became a norm for her. The thought of being promiscuous, of going out and doing different things. So that in and of itself is also showing that she was just thinking that this is something normal, that this is something that everybody does, but not realizing the weight or the gravity of what she was doing and how it was affecting herself. But then as time progressed and she learned more about herself and to respect her body and all these different areas, we find where she's now come to a place of saying, I need to protect my family as well. But she did mention something very important, where she said that some of the responses are automatic. And that tends to happen a lot with persons who are abused in various ways. They have an automated response to differing situations. They are ready to attack persons, to become aggressive and otherwise. So there are a lot of things that we need to explore and to delve into as we look into Atoy's story and so many others who have had similar experiences.
How prevalent is this kind of story?
Unfortunately, it's quite prevalent. So reported is probably about 40% of our young persons are experiencing any form of abuse. And of course, as we said, reporting. So we're not even sure of what the exact number is. Not a lot of persons are able to come forward and say, this is my situation, this is what I went through, this is what I've experienced. Either the family covers it up or the child, him or herself, tends to cover it up. And yes, males and females do experience abuse of varying kinds. Even into adulthood, some persons go on to find that certain forms of abuse, financial, spiritual, and otherwise, become normal place for them, and anything outside of that doesn't seem as attractive as before.
Do you find that sexual abuse is common in those persons who are now living with mental health condition? They were abused in their early years?
Research has shown that about 40% of persons who have had sexual abuse in the past do grow up to have certain kinds of mental illnesses or are predisposed to certain mental illnesses, including depression, anxiety, and psychotic disorders as well. So unfortunately, a lot of these experiences that children have then do go on to develop other forms of mental illnesses that affect them in a myriad of ways. Again, some persons are able to manage it without intervention, but a lot of persons within that 40% tend to need a lot of support. There's post-traumatic stress disorder as well. So that in and of itself is just having nightmares, thoughts, dreams, reliving the situation that never goes away. Or up to this point, probably 10, 15, 20 years, still have the experience. Children as young as 6 have been known to have PTSD as well, which without intervention, it does lead to other serious mental illnesses being developed.
Thank you, Dr. Simpson. Abuse does not just end the echoes. It reshapes the way a mind learns to love, trust, and survive. But as we've seen today, trauma doesn't get the last word. Survivors do. To anyone listening who's still carrying a silence that doesn't belong to you, we see you. And healing is possible even if it begins as a whisper. This is Mindset, where stories meet strength and survival speaks. Thank you for watching. See you next week.
Investigation and Security Company Limited, providing quality, responsive services for over 40 years. Security at its modern best.